As you end the year, think about a simple three-part recess. Try to think of one health habit to protect, not improve, to protect. Sleep, protect what you have. Just like we approach retirement, we will do things to help protect the portfolio, at least a portion of it, or restructure the portfolio to have lower volatility. We do things to help protect, not necessarily grow.
Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy Retirement, where your certified retirement counselor Mark Struthers takes a holistic approach to retirement, going beyond finances and embracing holistic well-being. This YouTube channel will address not just the financial part of retirement, but also the social, the physical, and the emotional parts of retirement. Everything you need for healthier, a wealthier, and a happier retirement.
Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy Retirement. My name is Mark Struthers, and I thank you for joining us as Christmas sneaks up upon us. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We have had some healthy things, healthy topics, not just wealthy. We just got done with a travel episode. But today we're going to talk about stress and sleep and some apps that clients have recommended over the years. So December is the hustle and bustle of December is stressful, and this might help you deal with it. And oftentimes we put our health on hold until we get into January, when the clubs all get super, super busy and the regulars get very, very upset. So we're doing this episode now because maybe it will help you deal with the holidays and maybe get you a better running start come January, especially when you're probably completely exhausted after the holidays are over. So we're going to talk about stress, sleep habits, and some apps. These are not recommendations, and we're going to say that several times. These are simply apps. We're not endorsing, but these are ones that clients have given us that have worked for them, and a lot of these have. And keep in mind, like with financial planning, it isn't about perfection. It's about putting yourself in a better position to succeed. Most bad financial decisions aren't caused by the math. They're caused by not making an effort to be informed. And often they are caused by tired brain, stress, and rush thinking. So a lot of times it's not so much that you can't do the math or the math is hard, but it's because we often just ignore it, or when we do try to do with it, we might be too tired, too stressed. So this episode isn't about diets or workouts. It's about how health quietly shows up in retirement outcomes. And it's not just the cost of healthcare, but it can show up other ways, including your planning, better decision making. Stress often turns planning into reacting. And when you have to react, when you have to be reactive and not proactive, you usually have fewer options. You usually make worse decisions. Number one, stress is a financial risk. It narrows our thinking. We often just go into survival mode, short-term thinkings, overreacting, second guessing good plans. We often might have a good plan in place, but because of stress, we start to let emotions creep in. And we undermine the very plan that we made while we were of sound mind, so to speak. December increases this with deadlines, family obligations, travel, and year-end financial noise. There is so much thrown at us, so many expectations. Folks feel obligated to give their kids that big Christmas, the Griswold family vacation Christmas. And let's not forget, families, even the best family, can be stressful, especially if someone starts talking politics at the Christmas dinner table. And one thing about retirees that I think folks miss is that retirement doesn't remove stress. It often removes structure. If stress runs your decision-making before retirement, it doesn't magically disappear after. Stress doesn't just feel bad. It changes decisions. It changes perspectives. And usually the decision-making is worse and the outcomes are not as good as they could be. One old mindset that Gen Xers and I think baby boomers and those before them had was that sleep was something for the weak. But I've come around. I think working smart is as important as working hard, and sleep is critical. And I think it varies with each person. The idea that you're sleeping 12 hours a day probably isn't healthy. There's probably something wrong. But finding your perfect number where you are energized, making good decisions, but not wasting time in bed, so to speak. Sleep deprivation, it's changing, but is one of the most socially accepted impairment things we ignore. If we're impaired by alcohol, if we're impaired by other things, drugs, addiction, those aren't socially acceptable, but many people still make sleep deprivation as being working hard, that it's a badge of honor. And in December, it can get worse. Later nights, alcohol, travel, inconsistent routines. So sometimes just having that time off or the driving or the flying can get you out of rhythm. Poor sleep often leads to more impulsive decisions, not just picking something up at the store. It could be a number of different things that cause you to be more impulsive. Also, loss aversion. So often people get a little more scared when with their investment portfolio around the holidays. And that's where some of those impulsive decisions could be detrimental. When you have poor sleep, the loss aversion, impulsive decisions, more regret can sleep in and second guessing. And also, I think when you lose sleep, it's easier to put some things off that maybe should be addressed right away. I'll just deal with it. If it's truly just tomorrow and there's no harm in that, often that could be a good thing. If you know you're not, if you place your own trades in your brokerage account and you know that you are not thinking, it might be better to wait. But do it because you know tomorrow you're going to be well rested or after a nap. Don't put off something that's going to harm your portfolio just to put it off. Do it because you want to be of better mind. There are some simple rules that you can use as you approach the holidays. Try to make big financial decisions after 9 p.m. Often writing down questions instead of acting on them. You could type them up as well, put them in your phone. But often writing them down seems to have more of an impact. It tends to stay with you. And you can also easily leave that piece of paper out where you have to look at it, where if it's in your phone, your computer, you can ignore it. Try to protect one sleep anchor over the holidays, whether that's bedtime, waking time, or one routine. Try to keep your habits, one anchor in place. They often say better sleep doesn't make you smarter, it makes you calmer. I actually think the net result is better sleep does make you smarter because you're using your brain more effectively. A lot of clients, and I have used some of these, use sleep or white noise apps when they're, especially during stressful times. Helps them fall asleep faster. And I have to add again, these are not just endorsements. These are apps that clients actually use. And you don't need 5 of them. They often have free trials. Try it out, see if it works for you. You often need a little bit of time to get used to it. So white noise or white noise light, very simple, very effective. Things like fans, rain, static, brown noise. Often when we're in a hotel room, we have a fan app going just for the whole family. And it helps everyone sleep. It helps drown out some of the noise around. Sleep Sounds by Sleep Pillow is an app. High quality sounds, great for travel, hotel. Better Sleep. This one I've used a lot. It actually has a lot in there. I think it was formerly called Relaxed Melodies. I love it. I guess the only issue I have with it is there are so many things that you can put together. And quite often you're doing this close to bedtime. It almost gets too complex. You almost have too many options. That being said, I still have better sleep than I do. My Noise, I haven't used this one. Highly customizable frequencies. And for whatever reason, engineers, executives, some of the analytical types seem to love it. And I've never used this one. This one was brought to my attention recently. I'll have to see if it's even there. I have an iPhone. Apple background sound. Apparently it's built in. No app needed, but maybe that's enough. So a lot of these, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but part of working smarter is trying to find ways of dealing with a challenge. And if sleep is a challenge, and first of all, acknowledge how important sleep is, but try some of these apps to try to get you to sleep faster and have better sleep. And these apps yourself, they help quiet the mental chatter. So that allows you to sleep. They technically don't fix your sleep, but they do help you block out things and helps you. For me, it definitely helps fall asleep faster. I think even at times they help me stay asleep. Without question, they help my whole family fall asleep faster. A quieter brain makes fewer emotional, financial decisions as well. So I think it's one of those things where it just helps calm you. And if you are stressed out about financial decisions or family, it gives you something to focus on. I have found myself and many people, we listen to business news not because we're financial people, but quite often we use it just to have background noise. I see nothing wrong with that. Many times that helps you focus, especially if something is bothering you or if you are having trouble sleeping. Number 4, movement, momentum, and mental space. Not fitness, but movement. And seems common sense, but walking, stretching, light activities. Taking breaks, especially in stressful situations. If I'm at a conference or something that I find stressful or some sort of social gathering, I've started to try to do this. It's really tough. I find myself not being able to pull myself away. But when I do, if I walk and stretch and get some fresh air, move around, it helps clear the head. For me, it helps reduce anxiety. It helps improve your perspective. Just like almost everyone I know, they count their drinks to make sure they don't drink too much. I think you need to kind of take some time. I think in stressful situations, whatever it is, every hour, every two, make sure you're moving around. Make sure you are trying to clear your head and get the blood circulating, as they say. Some apps that were mentioned, Apple Fitness, that one actually has a standing, you have your goals, your daily goals. It has a standing goal that you can tailor, whether it's 9 times or 10 times or what have you. It's not perfect. If you're like me and you work at a standing desk, it obviously always doesn't register it because you never really technically sat down. But it does give you some reminders to get up and move. A Peloton app, oddly enough, I did not know this would work without the equipment, but apparently it does. Nike training app, I've used that in the past. When it comes to just kind of basic movement, I like Apple Fitness, but the Nike training app certainly can. Strava, to me, Strava is more for walking and running, but if it's something where it can get you moving, maybe if it gets you for a walk each day, you can post it. You can like each other's walks. I have a really tough time. My son is a runner and he posts stuff all the time. And if I'm not liking it, sometimes it seems like within a few hours, I'm getting a text guilt, shaming me for not liking his run. So I think those are all great. Just find one that works good for you. Just to, what I find amazing about this, and I'm guilty of this as well, is to get some basic movement in where you're talking about 5, 10, 15 minutes every few hours. It's not a lot of time. Think of all the time that we all waste throughout the day. To do this does not take much time. Number 5, mindfulness and stress reset apps. I have tried Calm a few times. I have a tough time sticking to it, but so many clients swear by it. And just friends, at our office at the Lifetime Work co-working space. And of course, those folks, most people around there are fairly health conscious, so they use some of these. So these are some. I'm less familiar with these. Headspace, Calm, which I think we've all seen advertisements for and I've tried. Insight Timer, they say this one is a great free option. And one called Waking Up. Whatever reason, it seems to be popular with the analytical types. And I had a client say this to me, 5 calm minutes can prevent a 5-figure mistake, which he's right. It's kind of like sleep. It's where you're trying to make sure you're making the best decision you can, in the best position you can, whether it's sleep, and then also just being mindful, taking a breath, taking some time to yourself, meditating, praying, whatever you use to kind of reset yourself. I think is huge. And this one is on my New Year's resolution. I'm not sure how I'm going to work it throughout my day, but we will give it a shot. Number 6, nutrition awareness. And this one was hesitant to put in, but my assistant was right. It shouldn't be, in many cases, it's not about restriction. It's not about what you can't do, but think about energy and awareness. So if you kind of tie your diet into not being a punishment, but as how can I put myself in the best position to succeed, kind of like with sleep. Some apps that were recommended. Now, I've never used any of these as far as nutrition goes. MyFitnessPal, Lose It, and Chronometer. So tracking your food can be critical. And I think it's a good idea. One thing I will say that when I talk to people about this one is probably one where most people give up sooner. I think don't let the perfect be the enemy of good, especially around December. Nothing wrong with tracking. Tracking's critical, but if it becomes too much, you're not going to stick with it through the busy holidays. I think more try and think in terms of like the 80-20 rule, where if you can just eat healthy foods 60, 70, 80% of the time, and keep a loose idea about it. If you're eating three main meals, if two of them are fairly healthy, you're in good shape. If not one of them is, you're not, or if only one. So I think if you can do that, that might be a more sustainable thing in the holidays, especially if people are throwing fudge and heavy calorie alcoholic drinks at you. And summing this up, and we say this a lot, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. If you have a busy holiday season, even mixing in one healthy meal is going to help out a lot. But especially if you can mix in two, where it's 2/3 of your day is at least fairly healthy, the other third is not going to impact you as much. And one last thing, as you end the year, think about a simple 3-part recess. Try to think of one health habit to protect, not improve, to protect. Sleep, protect what you have. Just like we approach retirement, we will do things to help protect the portfolio, at least a portion of it, or restructure the portfolio to have lower volatility. We do things to help protect, not necessarily grow. So it can help to think in terms of what can I do, whether it's a daily walk, a sleep routine, some sort of morning anchor. Get up at a certain time. Have that first meal be your healthy meal of the day. That way you get it out of the way. If you're able to do a workout, get that done right away. Even if it's not perfect, even if you're not 100%, if you get those things in earlier, it's going to help you stick to some of these habits. It could be an anchor. It could certainly help you throughout. Number 2, one financial thing to pause. So no panicked trading. Make sure it's planned. Try to make sure you're in a good state of mind. If you are someone who is, like, say, you might be doing some tax loss harvesting at the end of the year, please make sure that you haven't done it after drinking. You're not stressed out. You're not angry at a family member. And try to do it well in advance. We've done a lot of some tax loss harvesting. Also, we've been moving some appreciated securities to charities or donor advised funds. That can get pretty complicated. If you're moving 20, 30 different securities, especially if you're stripping out lots that are a year old or have the higher appreciation, there's a lot of room for error. So just make sure you are in a good mindset to do it if you're doing it yourself. Number 3, one reflection question. Start to think back a little bit. What actually worked this year for me? What drained me? What do I want more energy for next year? So this kind of 3-part reset, I think, can really help you get through the holidays and also start the new year off. And as always, we like to tie this back to transition. Retirement just isn't just a financial transition. It's a health transition as well. So it goes without saying, we all know if we stay healthier, we lower healthcare costs, and healthcare costs are always going up. Medicare will always be more expensive. So protecting your health and your judgment is critical. So not just how much you go to the doctor, but also protecting your judgment as you make all your decisions, but especially your financial decisions is critical. And we will be back next year. I think we're sneaking up on episode 50. It has been a great year and a half. Can't even remember how long we've been doing this. But we hope you find these useful. We're always trying to make improvements. Thank you for all the feedback that those of you have sent us messages and DMs. We appreciate you being invested. A couple things I am going to close on is for the next 2 weeks here over the holidays, try to take care of the human making the decision, the machine making the decision. If you owned a piece of machinery, you would not let it decay to where it could cause problems. And I am going to circle back to one of my favorite things to try and stay healthy is sleep. Sleep is the cheapest form of performance enhancer. If you could do one thing, protecting your sleep in some fashion over the holidays is probably the biggest one. Because I think it leads into other decisions. I think you're more apt to eat unhealthy, more apt to drink too much, more apt to make worse decisions. But as always, the most important thing is that you are making an effort, that you are making informed decisions, you are trying to be the best financial and healthy version of yourself in or out of retirement. If you do that, you will have a healthier, a wealthier, and a happier retirement. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe, leave a review. and share with your friends. Share the love. Make sure they have a healthier, a wealthier, and a happier retirement as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for free resources and check out our website and social media pages for exclusive content and updates. See you next time.
Sona Financial, LLC, DBA Sona Wealth and Sona Wealth Advisors, is a registered investment advisor with the state of Minnesota. All views, expressions, and opinions included in this communication are subject to change. This communication is not intended as an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any financial instrument or investment advisory services. Any information provided has been obtained from sources considered reliable, but we do not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of any description of securities, markets, or developments mentioned.